Welcome to the Dadler Soul Sessions on Thursday, the 4th of September, 2025, or as we like to call it, Independence Week, because all the kids have gone back to school at some point this week, surely. If you've still got a child off school, I mean, my sincere condolences go to you. But that is some teachers going, we need a few more training days before we're ready to face those little blighters. Joining me right now, on the way, we've got Alex Francis, who is a brilliant singer-songwriter. You may have heard a bit of the interview that I did with him on the Face Radio Brooklyn at the weekend, but the full interview is coming up very soon. But before that, the support act to our singer-songwriter headliner is Dan Flanagan, the Uberlord of Dadler Soul. Hello.
I'm also a singer-songwriter of, much reputation. I just don't think I'm comfortable with the fact you ignored that fact.
Oh no, I've offended you already. Oh jeez. I
had a summer break. I've had a couple of weeks off, and then you just go, oh, it's not. Yeah, Dan, your guitar playing is amongst the 1% in the entire world of people that really, really, really cannot play the guitar.
Do you pay for some expensive guitar lessons and then never practice outside of them like my 8-year-old? Because that's been a bone of contention already. The company that comes and does them at the school,
yeah,
they want payment, I mean, well in advance. So we had to, before the end of June, I think we had to pay for September to December's guitar lessons. And I was like, I will pay for these, but only if you rehearse, only if you practice, all right? Over summer, we're like, are you going to practice your guitar yet? It was like, it's a holiday. So I don't think that is how Carlos Santana viewed it, is it?
It's not going to work. So no, I haven't booked lessons. I have terrible hand-eye coordination anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 90s, when everybody was in a band, me and my mates did set up a band, but it became very apparent that all of those could play the guitar. I tried the keyboard very briefly, didn't also work. So I became the enigmatic frontman.
Yeah, that's it. And that's the role that us people with no musical talent have to take on. Either that or we'll bez it.
There was probably a bit of biz there because I realised I can't really hold a tune. I looked good back then. I had a certain joie de vivre in my charity shop finds.
I certainly think that the reason I went into doing radio as a career was so I could play the songs, because there was no way that I could play on the songs. So that was my way of being part of it.
But you are back on stage in the near future, I believe.
Oh my God, yeah. So this is something that we've been talking about on our Extra Time podcast that you can find in all good podcast places. And is a little bit of accountability. And I a very long time ago said that I wanted to do a stage show of some stuff that I do about Yorkshire, bewildered Yorkshire. And but I needed to do some stand-up gigs first to kind of get into it, work out what works in front of an audience, do like 5 minutes at a time. And it took a while to book that in, but it's coming on Wednesday. It's happening Wednesday night. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be talking.
Whoa. So you're walking the walk.
I'm walking the walk eventually, yeah. I sat the seat for a long time. Now I'm going to walk the walk.
So is it Carnegie Hall? The Albert Hall, the venue, which we're looking at?
It's a vegan restaurant in Beverley in East Yorkshire. And that, I'll be honest, Carnegie Hall right now, I think that might be a little overstretching. I'm hoping, because I've been promised this is a very lovely, friendly crowd. And I have done stand-up comedy in the distant past. And there are some venues you go where it's like, oh, that was like a warm hug and everyone wanted you to succeed. And so they were very polite, and then they got into it and they gave you time to just ease yourself in. And there are some venues where they hate you and they want you to fail and they enjoy that. And I've been told this is definitely one of the former. So I'm hoping that it'll be a lovely, friendly, warm, cuddly experience.
Well, it's a vegan cafe, so there's not going to be any beef, is there?
Hey! It's good, that. I enjoyed that one.
That.
Yeah, I'm going to just write that one down.
For free.
Oh,
so are you fully set? You've timed, you've got a very sharp 5 minutes.
Well, here's the thing. I thought I had 5 minutes, and then I got a message yesterday saying, so everyone's got 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, God, no. But actually, if I think about it, my 5 minutes would have overrun probably. So I think that I might be doing a 7 and then getting off the stage, leave them wanting more rather than tagging on some nonsense at the end.
And it's time to breathe as well, rather than thinking, right, I've got to get everything out. You know, bit of crowd interaction. You know, they might know you from other places where you are famous, so you're going to have to get over that elephant in the room.
Yeah, hopefully so. Hopefully I can use that to pad things out a little bit. But yeah, you do. That's the thing, because what I really love about these nights, and what I really liked about them 20 years ago when I was doing, 25 years ago when I was doing stand-up in London, was you'd go to these nights and it would be like 10 new acts, and some of them would be absolutely awful, but some of them would be brilliant. And you never know who's going to be who. And you do spot the ones that are like, you've probably got some potential, but you're really trying to get the jokes out quick because you think, I need to get to the next laugh. I need to do it. And it just ruins the way. It's just fascinating. I find them a fascinating experience, and hopefully I will be okay.
So they've written the punchlines on the back of their hands, and you can see them. Also, you're really hot and sweaty. That's just melted. Oh, can I just stop? I'm just going to go to my joke book and read. No, please don't do that, because it just makes everybody else feel really, really anxious. Either learn your material or don't do it.
Or at least have the ability to improvise something good if you've forgotten it. Like, yeah, you need to do something. I once went to a play called The Death of the Maiden, and it must have been at the very last minute that the lead actor had to pull out for illness or whatever. And so they did say at the start, the part will be played by the director. Unfortunately, he will be reading from the script. So throughout this play, the director on stage with the script in his hand, and it was not the great experience that I think we'd hoped it would be, including there's one scene where he comes into the room and sees someone tied up to a chair. So he came in, walked into the room, stood there, looked down at his script. What's going on? Which ruined the effect somewhat.
Yeah, it's not really an EastEnders level duff, is it?
No, not quite. No, although plenty of room in the middle for the duff to happen before he actually got round to saying his line. I mean, yeah.
As opposed to yours will just be duff.
I mean, duff is the level that I'm hoping for. Anything less than
duff beer. That's
duff
what I meant. I mean, high level, famous, world famous, amazing quality ingredients. That's what I don't think. I think you probably felt something else there.
Yeah, possibly, maybe. Anyway, what's going on in the world of Dad Lassalle?
All the things. So yeah, we had August off, sort of. We had our lovely summer block party at the Brighton Open Air Theatre, but that was fun. But it was also really, really hot. Beautiful outdoor venue, and it's better that it didn't pour down with rain. Mm-hmm. But when there's hardly any shelter, or shade rather, very hard to get people on the dance floor raving.
Yeah.
We're all sat underneath umbrellas trying, not to burn. And, given my Mediterranean heritage, I can last at least 4 seconds on a somewhat sunny day, not. So, yeah, it was fun, but guys, don't do another event in the middle of August with a hot sun. Also, when the schools are on holiday and half the audience are away. So, lessons learned. We are back to normal, should I say, as of next Saturday. So our play dates start again in Brighton at +X, and I think they're called Activities for Kids, but these are an amazing organisation that organise really sort of kick-ass after school clubs around that. So they're going to bring them almost a medley of all of the different stuff that you could do in a couple of hours. We are restarting our evening events, and we call them dads only. Probably going to be changing that because we realise it's not just dads that come. And fingers crossed, that's quite nice. So before we broke, we did quite a special one, and it was based at the Big Beach Cafe, which is Norman Cook's cafe on Brighton seafront, with the team from Propellernet and Gen X, and that was a really nice, almost summer party. Good tunes, a couple of beers if you wanted them. Hung out with Norm. It was so popular, we're probably going to do it again this month. But your mate Alex, the singer-songwriter, is going to come down and perform for us.
Nice.
Evening of hanging out at Fat Boy Slim's Cafe, bit of a DJ competition, a few conversations, Alex doing a PA. I think it's a really nice way to restart the autumn events. So we're not going to be there every single month. It is a kind of a special one-off, but the lovely team, Dan and his guys that run the Big Beach Cafe, are fans of Dad LaSalle. So we're there chatting. Dan, we really love what you're doing. Do you want to come and do some events here? Yes, right. Obviously I do. How much is it going to cost? Don't worry about that. So, yes, I want to do it even more.
Yeah, that's the best price, isn't it? Don't worry.
It is. So that's Thursday, the 25th of September. Our events in Worthing are kicking off. 9th of October, we've got a brand new event location in a very different town, but I'll tell you more about that next month. And then we've got something else special with our lovely, handsome, regular beach goddess that is Tyler Slade, that organises the Versus Life team. So this is for a lot of the lads that go sea swimming and running away. He's taking 12 of us cliffside in Dorset for a weekend.
Oh, right. Wow. To
do stuff. I don't know exactly what that involves. He caught me at a very weak moment. Said, "Do you want to come and do this stuff?" I thought, "Oh, yeah, that's great."
You couldn't think of anything to say to get rid of him, so you had to just say yes.
And gave him some cash.
Right.
No, but there's 12 of us going in a minibus, so whereas I've not had a weekend away with the boys for 20, 30 years. And those weekends would have been very, very different.
Yeah.
Put it that way. But this is a bit of yoga, ice bath. Apparently he's going to chuck us off some cliffs. Yeah, so I've kind of, yeah. That's all saying that it's in a couple of weeks. And I've already given the cash. He's not going to give me a refund.
No.
All the people I'm going with are a lot younger, fitter, healthier there. I'm going to be Grandpa Simpson at the back of the bus, berating them for their terrible soundtrack choices, because we've got a Spotify group playlist. It's like, yeah, that shit, that ain't going on. If it does go on, I'm going to tut really loudly. So they're all really looking forward to having my company for the week. And
oh yeah, I bet. But I think this is like one of those reality shows where they have to go to like the jungle or something like that, and the one that you least expect is usually the one that comes through and has the most sort of resilience, because they've built it up over the time. And these young bucks think that they're all that and a bag of potato chips, but no, it's all about the people in the 50s at the back who come through.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a spoiler, but it ain't me.
Well, you never know. I mean,
ain't nobody got time for that. No, I'm there as a cheerleader, spiritual guru, DJ. I'm not going to be running 5K. You can really run 5 minutes. And I said to Tyler very clearly, if you do any surprise fun stuff, like wake us up at 4:30 in the morning for a 24-hour trek with a pack that weighs 30, so I will be throat punching you. I don't care. It ain't happening.
It's a natural reaction. If someone wants to try and get me out of bed at that time, I might do that too. Like, I can't
can you
help
make sure?
it.
Yeah, 12 of us in the same tent. is there a nice B&B nearby? That's all I'm asking. Not that I'm not fully invested.
No.
But do you not know who I am?
No, exactly. I mean, I'm all for comfort. Comfort is the way forward, definitely.
Yeah. So it's another sort of nice development for it, because it's the Versus Live guys and a lot of the dadless oldies going away together, ultimately about mental health and bonding and stuff. So it's not something we've done before, and it's something I hope to be doing more in the future. So we have our play dates, we have our Thursdays, we have our get-togethers on a Sunday and whatever. What else can we do to bring the community together? So very excited. I will report back if I'm not dead or presumed missing of some sort of cliff edge in Dorset.
Well, good luck. It's been nice knowing you. Anyway, Dan Flanagan, thank you very much for your Dadless Soul update. Let's find out what Alex Francis had to say for himself when I met him the other day. I am here with singer-songwriter extraordinaire Alex Francis. How you doing? You all right?
How's it going, Jim? I'm very well, thank you. Very well. Thanks for having me.
And no, it's a pleasure to have someone talented on this show for once.
Oh man, I'm just taking each day, trying not to, tune the guitar wrong or sing a flat note.
I mean, you're pretty exposed when you're doing live shows, aren't you? That's the problem.
You are. I came. We did our final festival show last Sunday, and I started a song that we've been closing with for about 18 shows in a row, and I started in the wrong key. And I've never seen such glares from my band members.
Yeah, because you have to be like a gang. You have to be united, a united front on stage.
You do.
And when someone's in the wrong key, that throws everything off, right?
James Brown would have he wouldn't have just docked my pay. I think he would have had me probably shot around the back of the venue. I think it would have been one of those. Yeah.
Those stories about him are crazy.
Incredible. I mean, when you think about work ethic, but I mean, a whole different time of life in the world. But like, yeah, I mean, principally, you've got to be, if you're going to go out there, especially with band members, you've got to be on. And I don't know whether I just got to the end of my summer and I just needed to sit down in a darkened room and have a little weep before the show. Maybe I should have just done that. But there I was in full confidence in the wrong key. So there you have it.
Yeah, I mean, that must be it when you're playing a lot of festivals. And I imagine there's a lot of traveling, there's not a lot of sleeping, there's a lot of watching other acts, there's a lot of having fun, and there's a lot of then going on stage and playing the same, I imagine the same set that you've been playing throughout the summer. You find something that works, do you? Or
you're pretty much right there. I mean, short of changing a few things up for purely creative kind of enjoyment, but I mean we kind of you get a bit of a formula going, and you kind of start to figure out what sits where in the sort of journey of the 45-50 minutes that you've got on a stage. So yeah, but I think I mean I'm gonna disappear to Tuscany for a week after this and not think about guitar, and hopefully come back with the enthusiasm of a 13-year-old just learning it for the first time.
I bet. I mean, you do whatever you do, whether you enjoy it loads, you do something that you're absolutely passionate about, which obviously you are doing, or if you're doing something that you can't stand. Everyone needs a break. You need to have that break. You need to have that time away, don't you?
It's so true. It's like, I know so many musicians that, exactly the same. They do. It's nice to just not listen to anything for a bit, like especially after shows as well. If there's a drive, sometimes we just don't put any music on. And we just kind of it's just nice to, I mean, hopefully what it does is it breeds a little bit of like recharge, a little bit of kind of, and it's not a perspective thing. I think it's just more like a kind of just recharge, and you need to be able to feel the kind of lust to want to do it. When you're doing it on a kind of cyclical kind of basis, especially with festival season, it can you have to watch it a little bit and kind of make sure you stay just as excited as you need to be. But I mean, I don't want to say for 1 minute that I don't take anything for granted. It's all beautifully blessed to be able to do it, and sustain doing it, on the full-time gig. So it's good. It's good.
And how has festival season been, apart from the one incident that we'll not mention anymore?
It's been pretty wonderful this summer, I must say. It's been pretty wonderful. I've been all up and down the UK, ventured up to Scotland as well. So it's really lovely in terms of just kind of coming back around into like really, embellishing what the festival season is if you're an act that uses playing live for so much of what the whole sell of what I do is. And I've been kind of building, I mean, it's probably been a mixture of, the hangover / the recovery of the pandemic period, coming back from that, going between a hell of a lot of enthusiasm from a lot of people in terms of being able to see stuff again versus some people that are still a little bit tentative, with total respect about, coming back to see stuff, or festivals that are just re-emerging that haven't even been here since like 2019 or 2020 that are coming back around. So we've had a really good kind of, building this year's festival season was awesome because there is like such appetite for it now. And I'm at a point now as well, like, I have my little girl's 5 and I had her in 2020. So we were pandemic, parents and with a newborn. So like getting back to this point now of being kind of, fifth gear again in terms of the gigging. So that is, so this year has been sort of, I'd say like, I've had the most I've gotten the most out of this year in terms of getting back out on the road now that the situation and life's kind of rhythm is what it is,
Yeah. And I guess once a child gets to 5, it gets easier, right? It's easier for them those early few years.
Some of it does.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
No. I mean, I brought her out on as many as I can this summer, actually, where it's, been sort of like logistically kind of doable. The beautiful thing about festival season is that you end up playing primarily in the afternoon / the early evening slots. And like, if your kid is 5 or young like that, they can do it, they can, so I've tried to get her, to see as much of it as possible, which is hilarious because she's sort of halfway between wonderment and taking everything completely for granted and wanting to like, unplug everything because, this is what Dad does anyway. I'll just do what I do, But no, it's a beautiful time. I just hope that, she, whatever she does, down the line, that she can kind of like enjoy this for what it is for now. I used my folks are like, they neither of them worked in music, but, they did try and like bring my brother and I out on as much kind of extracurricular, like could be holiday, it could be like, partying, weddings, this, that, and the other. So it's like, I don't want to make like rules about, with children about what they come and see, what they don't in that way. I really want her to be able to like experience as much of this as possible. Like my partner, Hannah, she's works in film production. Like, if we can get over to the set and just see stuff, it's a similar kind of sort of approach, I suppose.
And also, there's a lot of us parents have had some very tricky times over the last few weeks trying to sort out childcare. So if you can take them to work like that, that's a bonus, right?
Definite bonus. Not like I said, not to say that every single one is doable, but it's I mean, you are if you're I mean, look, we're in the modern day age here, and there are loads and loads of parents who are together in the same household and they're both working. It's not we don't really live in a dad's the breadwinner vibe anymore, and we have definitely had to create a layout for this summer. I won't lie, I took a deep breath on day one and off we went in. In terms of the summer holidays, it's that's a bit of an ongoing conversation, to be honest, isn't it?
Yeah. And how is it for you as well? Because the problem with being a singer and a songwriter is, I guess, that inspiration it's not like you can go, right, I am going to be creative between 7 and 12 tonight after bedtime. If an idea comes for a song, how do you manage to keep that in your head while your daughter's trying to tell you about, I guess, what 5-year-old still Paw Patrol? Is there a Paw Patrol nonsense in your ear?
Yeah, man. I mean, thank God for voice notes on the. I mean, my phone has got about probably 1,000 voice notes in it. Which the funny thing is, the majority of them are like some sort of like melody or a little riff or a bit of lyric going down. But then there's also a little background voice, which is desperately trying to there's the phone's sort of AI is trying to work out whether it needs to focus on what I'm playing down it or what she's talking about. No, it's. I'll be honest. As time goes on, like it's been, my thinking has always been, this is all like, she's 5 anyway, so like, this is all beautiful curiosity and wonderment, mixed with irrationality of this, that, and the other, which is what a 5-year-old would exhibit because they're 5. So I try very hard to just, kind of manage my own expectations and just like, let a lot of it just sort of happen. And, if I need to be kind of, strategic or savvy about, I better actually disappear off to another room and just do that there because I need to do it, then there's that. But, with a child this age, you're raising, you're building, you're developing, you're nurturing. And, I think, so far so good, but I'm not going to bring her in the recording studio anytime soon. I don't think yet. I'm too scared to do that yet because when we've I don't want to be clock watching with her in there as well.
Not until she, she's got kind of a better sense of rhythm and she can do some percussion for you for free.
Very, very much so, because I would take her free percussion right now, but she should be at like Montreux Jazz Festival with some of those time signatures because it's very sweet actually, because at school I think this is all kids at the moment, at least in the sort of early curriculums of primary school. I think rhythm is what they teach first. It's kind of, which makes total sense, I suppose, because so much of that that sort of group inclusion is about everybody doing things together, and if they can teach rhythms as a sort of fundamental backbone of music, then so be it. But I think she's gonna let's get through year 1 and see if there's a percussion pass to be made on a microphone. We'll see.
Fair enough. If there's some free labor, I mean,
exactly. 100%.
Right, let's play a song then, because we've been chatting for 10 minutes, not played one of your songs yet. This is We Beat As One. If you'll stick there, we'll come back, chat a bit about this and about other stuff after this.
Who we are, flesh and blood, we come so far, bound by love, the deepest root, the tallest tree. We felt so close, we built these dreams. It was racing through our veins, we broke the barricades, knowing we were born to run. We were shaking off the chains, desperate runaways, trying to see what we'd become. We'll never break apart, I know we belong. We're just two restless hearts, beating as one. I stand by you, you stand by me, our history, we beat as one. I carry you, you carry me, it runs so deep, we beat as one. With every leap and every fall, thick as thieves, we shared it all. We rode the wave, the rough and the smooth, and so much change, but we stayed true. It was racing through our veins, we broke the barricades, knowing we were born to run. We were shaking off the chains, desperate runaways, trying to see what we'd become. We'll never break apart, I know we belong. We're just two restless hearts, beating as one. You're the thorn in my pride, I'm the man in the mirror, trying to shine a light, rolling down the river. I stand by you, you stand by me, our history, we beat as one. I carry you, you carry me, it runs so deep, we
That's Alex Francis. We beat as one. And Alex is here on the Dadler Soul Extra Time show as well to talk about yourself, right?
Talk about myself, my favorite subject.
Hey, right. Good statistics. I love a press release with some statistics, and there were some pretty good ones here. Wow. 30 million Spotify streams.
Yeah, it's cooking away. I mean, it's at the very least, it's a good conversation starter, the old Spotify streams. I just hope that one day when I sort of, appear in a random village in like Nicaragua, I can get 20 people to come through the door, yes. Because they found me somewhere on Spotify,
Well, that's the beauty, isn't it? That is sort of possible.
It sort of is, to be honest. Yeah, it's true. Like there's 2 degrees of Spotify, I think. There's the one where you can like zone into like your kind of actual demographic of people, and the other one is where you're actually just being pushed out here, there, and everywhere, and it's kind of like a free promo element. It's like I've had things happen on Spotify before where I've gone, okay, well, I don't know where I was pulling that from if it didn't happen there, and you make glad of what you can do with it. So not for 1 minute do I don't sniff at Spotify, but it's just one of a myriad of different business cards you have to have as a musician these days,
Yeah. And that, I mean, you are on tour, and one of the reasons you're here is because a lot of our viewers and listeners are on the South Coast, and you are playing on the 11th of September at Spun Records in Worthing. Indeed.
Yeah, a bit of Worthing action. I've come to sort of fall in love with the South Coast of Sussex. I mean, my agent is based down in the South Coast as well, but there's a brilliant appetite for live music, and we are, a big part of this year is going out and about and finding out kind of where people want it and maybe where they don't. And so far so good in terms of the, the Sussex coast. And so this is going to be a special one. It's a beautiful little spot. Spun Records is an amazing independently run store. And, we're going to do, the whole idea is to just do this sort of intimate, raw, storytelling, anecdotal kind of vibe you'd get around the pub table, but with a guitar involved as well.
Nice. Oh, so people are coming for a real treat. That sounds lovely.
I hope so. I'm going to warm up my voice.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. We'll just take it from there and see what happens.
And everything in the right key, yeah?
Well, that's this is going to be a solo show. So thankfully I can go as Miles Davis on it as I want.
Just keep going with enough confidence that no one realizes there's nothing wrong. And you're also playing Winchester, Chelmsford, London, right. Manchester, and I'll put all the details in the description so people can find out.
A few bits and pieces coming up into the autumn. Very excited about.
But once you've had a week's break in Tuscany, right?
Week's break, yeah, potentially an Aperol Spritz, something like that. Is that the liqueur of Italy? I think it is. I can't remember. Maybe, or is it the Campari? Maybe it's the Campari. Whichever one it is, I will be pouring a tall glass of it.
See what the locals are doing, copy them. That's what I always do when I'm on holiday.
Unless I will be led by that thinking, but it'll probably end up being some 80%, nail polish remover that they've been drinking for about 80 years, which will just reduce me to the emotional capabilities of my 5-year-old daughter.
Or I don't know what the geographic spread is, but I know that around Naples, sort of Sorrento, it's all limoncello in it.
Oh man, the limoncello, yeah.
It's great when you're on holiday. You bring it back though.
You can sit that. Yeah, it's not the same. But you can sit it in the freezer, and that's one of those ones, isn't it? That's got to be Arctic temperatures to drink that. It's got to be beautiful.
You
just inspired me actually there, Jim. You've inspired me into maybe I'm going to toss the Aperol and go for the limoncello instead.
Oh, there you go. I'm here for interviews and also drink recommendations for holidays. Why not?
A book coming up.
Or a podcast. Everyone's doing a podcast about stuff like that nowadays. But you are playing these places. But once again, hopefully the Spotify thing that'll lead to your Nicaragua gigs. You never know. Nice to get paid to fly out somewhere, wouldn't it?
You never know. I mean, stranger things have happened actually. I ended up early last year on an amazing. It was a private booking, and it was some folks that had found. I have a cover of "You Make My Dreams" by Hall & Oates that sits on my Spotify, amongst other things. And they were so sweet. They made an approach on email, and off we went. We ended up doing 5 nights of shows in New York off the back of it. So Spotify is Nicaragua. You never know. could be I could be there sooner than I think. You never know.
I mean, I can't offer you 5 nights in New York. I could offer you maybe an afternoon in York.
Like an afternoon. Actually, you know what? I did a show in York 2 weeks ago, and it was bloody brilliant. It was the first time I played in York, and we haven't made any like plans to be up north quite yet. But we're hoping to do more up north. But there were folks that had travelled from like Wales, folks that had travelled from Middlesbrough and Newcastle. I was like, this is legit in York, you know. So I'll take an afternoon in York, 100%.
Oh well, there you go. A quick scoot around Betty's tea room, and then.
Hey, don't threaten me with a good time, Jim.
Another stat that I enjoyed. This one I think is amazing. Right, 10,000 unique Shazams. That's an honor, though. That's a real honor, isn't it? Because it's not like. That's not something that's been fed through an algorithm. That is someone's heard the song and they've gone, I really like this.
Yeah.
What is it?
No, that it is super cool. You're absolutely right. It is, you know, you're at the absolute mercy of somebody, you know, watching what they're watching on their sofa of an evening, and you know, choosing to even open an app and have it and click listen. It is super cool. It's that's another one where, you know, as much as you know, things like Spotify and you know, getting played on, you know, the odd TV show and stuff kind of dilute into the bigger picture of everything. There is still like, you're looking for a reaction, and you're looking for a kind of conversion of somebody if you can get it. And you're right, actually. That's a really good way to think about it. Like, it is not algorithmic at all. That is user chosen, dare I say. That's human, about as human as it gets.
Yeah, it's led by a definite interest. Yeah, because it's not.
Yeah, you have to be curious enough to go. Yeah. I want to learn a little bit more. AKA I want to find out what the rest of that song's doing.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm proud. I always try and Shazam subtly if I think I should know what the song is. I'm like,
yeah. That's the one thing the app needs to get better at. Is sort of like auto-correcting what you're trying to talk about, what you're trying to find.
Yeah,
it's actually not always easy to find it.
No, it isn't. And you know, it needs to change that. My Shazam also now is full of Bulgarian pop songs, because I went to a Bulgarian wedding with a client of mine, which was fascinating. And neither of us spoke Bulgarian.
Yeah.
And we had a long drive the next day. So we were listening to the Bulgarian songs, and the idea was to Shazam them and then make a Spotify playlist.
Yeah.
It's a lot of admin for a couple of days away.
100%. You probably also like confused your phone's algorithm into thinking that all you want now is Bulgarian pop.
To be honest, I wouldn't be cross.
Oh really? Yeah. I mean, no shade on Bulgarian pop. I'm not tuned in enough. You have to send me a couple.
Well, I hadn't been tuned in until a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it, but it could well be the fact it was nice and warm, and there was a lovely atmosphere. There was nice food, and
you were fully sold. They sold you the full package there, including the music.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Dreamy.
So, how long have you been doing your thing?
Oh wow, I'm too scared to say. No. I've been doing this for the best part of, what year is it? It's 2025. The best part of 10 years, but a little bit before that as well. I studied music at university, but I only ended up doing a couple of years at university before I just followed down loads of giggling. The nature of this game is that if you get a lead on something and it feels good enough, you're just going to follow it down. And so I spent 2 years in Brighton soaking up as much of the sort of live community of music there, which is still just as strong to this day, but it's just a particularly great place to kind of go in kind of cold. I came, humble beginnings in a little town called Hitchin in Hertfordshire, and decided, right, Brighton's a huge city, incredible mix of culture, loads of music. Let's go and study there and do some stuff there. And then after that, it was about 10 years ago. That was when I first started like getting representation of people around me that wanted to be part of, building it up and, making it all a bit more of a brand, I suppose. So yeah, it's 10 years of you know, doing everything under the musical sun to exist, you know, and have a house and, you know, be with my partner and have a child and a dog and all of that is all, you know, calculated into and by, you know, doing this music thing.
That's great. It's so good. It's, you know, it's lovely to have that that story that, you know, you just wanted to do it and you did it and you're doing it.
Yeah, you kind of I you know, you get on stage wherever you are, and you know, and I truly I love music. I'm not in music because it's an opportunity to monetize. It is an opportunity to monetize, but you have to, I believe you have to absolutely unequivocally love it. And I always say to people, you know, I have the love of my friends and my family. I have the love of it, like that human to human love, human to animal love, whatever, you know. But music is another kind of love. It's just as powerful, just as potent, and it's never in all of my years of, even when I was a teenager and we were just bumming around, kind of like, you know, learning instruments or like nicking my dad's vinyls, like before I was doing anything kind of serious within music, that same wonderment, curiosity, like potency is just the same now for me now, and that's why I think.
Okay, that's fascinating. Just because you mentioned earlier on, you know, your parents weren't involved in the music industry. But I mean, I don't know if you mind me saying, your brother is James Bay.
Yeah. Similarly for James, we're only 17 months in age, and
right.
So all of our initial discoveries and risk taking, in terms of like, oh, should we get on the train and go up to, you know, I don't know, Camden, do an open mic or something, like all of that initial bits was together. You know, we were discovering that stuff together, and they, I mean, in terms of my parents, they were, you know, fortunately just very supportive to kind of, you know, grit their teeth through some of those bum chords and bum notes initially. Because that's the other thing, is, you know, music and being a musician is you know, if you call it an art or a skill, then you know, if somebody is skilled in something, then they have to learn to get skilled at it. They have to learn to get it to a certain level. And, you know, we were playing every toilet in town back in the day because we needed to, you know, and I'm just fortunate, and so is he. We're both, you know, equally fortunate that, you know, in terms of our parents, they were happy to kind of support us with that. I mean, they're music lovers, you know, they love great music. So, you know, I think that is an important bit that you can't overlook, in terms of, everybody goes off and gets obsessed with whatever they want to when they're following a musical path, but, you know, it has to sort of start somewhere. Like, you know, my daughter has got a little kind of pile of her favorite songs right now, and she's 5, and she's got her own little guitar, and she's, you know, messing around with that, and it's pure curiosity, and it's sort of pure, it's like primal stuff, like, you know, loving, like, you know, certain songs is primal stuff at that age. And the very best thing that we can do now is just let that happen. And and I think I know that, like, you know, when I was a kid, when James and I were growing up, and there was always music on, and that's actually way more powerful than perhaps you'd think, in terms of dictating the idea that, okay, we're actually going to have a go at this and stick it long enough that others, i.e. team, label, whatever you want to, you know, everybody in the under the umbrella of being professional music goes, I'm going to take a chance on that person. You know, you've not everybody can do it, obviously, but like, it's a subjective thing, and that makes it, you know, difficult to navigate. Like, you know, there's thousands of people out there in music, but I just always think, like, as long as you get the chance to try, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, man. So they were great for that, you know, when we were growing up.
That's fascinating. That's really interesting, and it's quite inspiring as well, because you would, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with it, but you would think, when you have 2 children who go on to be, not just be musical, but be successful, make a living out of music, to a very high standard. There must be some kind of industry inside there. And it's lovely to find out that it's just a passion for music that really seeped through the generations, which is glorious. So that's
absolutely. Sorry. It's. I mean, do you know what? I think it's probably a harder harder one for the people on the outside to handle than for us on the inside of just getting immersed and obsessed and taking every gig and this, that, and the other. I think yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it's probably for them, or it's useful that we, we've got a good relationship with one another, and we're both dads. We've both got kids, and so we've got all this kind of family element which sits at the very forefront of what everything's all about, for us. And that is that's the core of in this current present day, in terms of, I think what I'm trying to say is that I have no idea how it must, to qualify, quantify, support how you feel emotionally about, having, children who are doing the very same thing. But then the beautiful thing about music is that, the pathways are never the same for anybody. And no one should expect them to be. It's like, I love this journey that I'm on. I love the fact that not every day is different, but like a lot of days are different and a lot of doors open. And it's the same for him. Like, there's no end goal. There's no pension in retirement. It's like we go. And I think, I see it in terms of, just hopefully keeping it, making everybody still feel proud and feel, as excited as we get in the right circumstances, right before you go on stage for something or other. And, I'm lucky that I've got, family around me that they want it for me as much as I want it, and he's the same, like, they want it for him, so you have to I think you have to look at it like that. I think that there must be definitely, though, complexity for parents to go, they just gave us a pretty wide berth, though. They gave us a pretty wide berth to kind of get on with it, trial and error it. They never went like, well, especially under a musical banner, they never went, I think you should do this instead. In terms of like that, I don't mean like change vocation. I mean like, I think you should maybe pursue, I don't know, you should go on that TV show, or you should do that or whatever. Like it was, which is actually, I'm sort of floored by that still, because that's like, it's really, that's a wonderful thing to kind of be allowed to have that space, because you have to have it if you're in a creative industry. You have to be able to experiment, and
find your own way, I guess. Because you've got to be comfortable with whatever.
Yeah, it's complex. It's a psychology, that bleeds straight back into an expression. It's a therapist's chair, man.
And you have done some great stuff. You've done, you've got your own stuff. You've contributed a song to a Cher Christmas album.
Oh, yeah, I have. Yeah. That's,
how does that happen?
Well, so my producer Mark, that wasn't a complete randomizer. That was Mark's worked on some of Cher's records before, and I mean, there was no brief. We knew she was going to do a holiday album, and we found that out. When did we write that? We wrote that 5 years ago, actually. And the record that went out the Christmas of 23. So in the world of like songwriting, it's hilarious because you can write to a brief on a project, or you can write to pitch to a project with differing like levels of how close to somebody or something that you are. But you can like, what will generally happen is that you'll park that file, that song, and you'll probably have to wait for a minute and see, like, when the sort of time comes for considerations or people listening through. And we wrote it in the lockdown of 2020, in June of 2020. So it was boiling, and we were trying to come up with a thing that kind of felt a little bit Slade, a little bit like Jeff Lynne-ish. I don't know. I had this thing in my head. And then we parked it, and then I remember him telling me that he had to go to Malibu because that's where she lives, and she's got a home studio set up there. And he was going over to work on some stuff, and they were going to play a few of the Christmas ideas down. And then it wasn't until we were actually, him and I and a few mates were at Springsteen in Hyde Park. It would have been summer of 23. And we went to the bar for some beers, and he was like, she's going to do it. And I was like, what?
Oh.
And it was awesome. And so we
Yeah.
bought about 10 more beers each and just chugged them down like stone cold. And yeah, man, I mean, like, you know, you just never know. I mean, I've written on a few different projects before where you know, like I say, you'll just write it and you'll just you'll put it in amongst, you know, you'll file it in with, you know, to whoever is looking after that, you know, chunk of material. And you just have to wait and see. But that kind of stuff is, I like wearing those clothes too. You know, I love songs. I always say to people two things. You've never written your best song. And the second thing would be that, you know, songs are the very top of the pile. There are a million good singers, you know, and you do have to be a skilled singer to be able to sell a song and sell a narrative and sell an emotion and everything in a lyric. But I think that it starts with the song. If you can take a song and you can campfire a great song right down to pretty much a cappella, then that's a great song, you know. And so my sort of ethos with music and doing it professionally is it starts with the songs. You know, you can only get so far, you know, with your phone in your hand singing to your camera for Instagram or something. You know, that's brilliant, but there are millions of good singers. There aren't millions of great songs. Yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, but you know, I love the fact that we got a chance, and I got to track the backing vocals on that track as well, which was
great.
Getting isolated Cher and in my my headphones, and also for a lady in her legacy years now, she still sounds incredible. I've always thought Cher's a killer vocalist anyway, but like she yeah, that was surreal having her isolated vocal parts of what we'd written on Zoom in June of 2020. Coming back in the ears and then tracking the BV parts was it was a cool experience.
Oh, that's great. And then there's the Mel C collaboration as well. You've worked with an actual Spice Girl.
Oh yeah, man, that was but do you know what, again, that was that kind of started with you know, just us getting around the piano. We had some mutual contacts and getting around the piano and just seeing if everything fitted together in a raw format before we went to the studio and did any sort of polished recording. Like the great thing about the experiences I've had that I always think is that the stimulus of so many of them are always from like raw sort of simplified tests of whether something works, because that is kind of the only way. You can't coast on like glazing over something and you know, quote unquote, like putting a filter over something. It doesn't work. Like something will be exposed. So you have to, so with the Mel C stuff, you know, it was lovely because we got to cut that track, and she's got a really great kind of solo reputation, especially the Spice Girls, obviously it's an international thing, but like her solo reputation in Germany particularly is really really strong. She's a super household name in her own right. So we went and we toured that record, and it was beautiful because I got to get a proper gateway into European audiences, you know, and getting out there. And you know, we're lucky that we're only across the channel. You know, we can get to Europe if we need to, you know, pretty quickly. So that did all come together quite quickly. It came together in less than 6 months. The whole plan to be doing the, you know, trying the song, doing the record, releasing her album with the track that it was on, and then doing the touring. It was a whirlwind experience, but I loved it. And she's so sweet, really musical person who has experienced the pinnacle highs of pop music and is still like, you know, she can deal with like a Tina Turner tune, she can deal with an Aretha tune, she knows her music, you know, and that's like a benchmark thing, I think.
Right. Oh well, what a career it has been already, and what a career it will clearly continue to be. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, Jim, it's a real pleasure to just be with you and chat, man.
It's it's been fascinating. I've really enjoyed it. 11th of September, Worthing, Spun Records. So
yes, indeed. And there is a new single out, Before You Break Our Heart. Stream it everywhere you get her music. It's my first release of the new year, so I'm waving a flag for that track right now. There's gonna be a whole lot of stuff coming, but that is the first one. It's out now in terms of our podcast. So Before You Break Our Heart is the name of the track, and it's out everywhere you get music.
Well, we will play it now.